Okay, we're here with Will Tant. Will Tant, welcome to the Body Podcast. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Jordan. I'm excited to be here.
Where are you quarantining during COVID-19?
I'm quarantining in Oxford in the United Kingdom. So I'm over in Oxford, and I'm actually on a farm, about a 10-acre farm just outside of Oxford, which is a nice place to be quarantined because there's a lot of opportunity to walk around and take a breath and look at nature.
I hope all the cows are healthy.
Well, actually, it's just horses and chickens and ducks, so we're good. No cows.
I've been out that way. It's stunning. I hope your quarantining continues to be fun and relaxing as much as it can be. So I wanted to pick your brain today. You are someone who has come to my mind during the season that we universally find ourselves in of suffering. And I think right now it's a great time to stop and pause and think about what really matters. I remember you sharing your story of your past and your suffering and the losses that you've experienced. And I think at the time I took them for granted. I didn't realize it was a learning from someone, but you shared your story and I saw how you handled your pain. And I really appreciated how open you were and transparent you were with your suffering. I just thought it'd be such a gift to give back to others. So I want to ask you a few questions, just as someone who has experienced suffering in their past, I wanted to hear from you about how that has prepared you for where you find yourself today amidst this pandemic.
The real turning point in my life when it came to suffering was I was 22 years old. And before that, I had experienced a very wonderful life. I grew up on the beach. I grew up surfing. I grew up in a small town in Florida with great friends and family and a really tight-knit community. Pretty easy going. And then I actually turned professional at surfing, which at this point is clearly not the suffering part of my story. The fact that I was able to travel around the world and surf was an amazing experience. When I think about it now, actually, that's when I really my world began to open up to suffering in the world, is when I began to travel a lot and see other people live very differently than I did in America. But then really suffering became very personal in my life when I was 22. My brother, my older brother, and my only brother, Tommy, he died in his sleep from an aortic aneurysm. We had no idea that he had this condition. He went to the doctor the day before he died, and the doctor actually misdiagnosed him with the flu, and he went home and he died that evening. When I think about this experience now and the suffering that people might be experiencing, something like a natural disease that's going through our world right now and causing a lot of people to either lose someone, I think that's a really relevant sort of aspect of my story. But then let me go a little bit further also and just say that 10 years went by after my brother died, and then I was diagnosed with the same condition. And so I was diagnosed with an ascending aortic aneurysm, and I had to actually give up my career as a professional athlete. And so I lost really the thing that I loved doing. That caused me to begin to really reflect on my life and really try to find value and meaning outside of what I did. And that was a really huge challenge for me again in my life. So I think really what that boils down to when it comes to where we are now because of the coronavirus, suffering disrupts our plans. It always does. I plan to grow old with my brother and to have him in my life and those are the plans that I made with him and that I never got to do because he was gone in one night. And then when it came to letting go of my career, I never planned to, that my career would end so abruptly. But it did. And really the real aspect for me that really challenged me in both those settings was really control and surrendering control of my life. That was the challenge for me. And obviously when you can't change something too, there's that aspect as well. So
again, I'm so sorry about the loss of your brother.
Yeah.
But I remember when I was recently grieving something, a friend, she said, it hasn't been like 6 months since that happened.
Yeah.
Shouldn't you be over it by now? And it kind of made me start thinking like, am I normal in my grieving? And I wanted to hear, should there be expectations on grieving? And is there a normal